In the recesses of a harmless-looking graveyard, evil lurks and darkness runs rampant. A ferry to the underworld awaits those that would oppose the Hyrulean royal family. The air smells of damp soil and rot. Shambling horrors await those that would oppose the Hyrulean royal family. What lurks behind the next door? Is the Shadow Temple a catacomb, or is it the holding cell for the victims of Hyrule's bloody past? Let's explore. At this point, we're all familiar with Ocarina of Time's Shadow Temple. We all know that the bottom of the well and the Shadow Temple are horrible places to be. We're all familiar with the aesthetic, but how about the deeper lore? Join me today as we take a look at Hyrule's House of the Dead. The Shadow Temple is one of my favorite parts of Ocarina of Time. I love horror games, and I love dark aspects hidden in otherwise child-friendly looking games. So today I wanted to take a look at the background, the location, the design, and the inhabitants of Ocarina of Time's Shadow Temple. Upon initially entering the Shadow Temple, Link's progress is blocked by an enormous stone door. To gain entry, you have to light all the torches in this room at once. You can't leave a single torch unlit. This does propose an interesting duality, though. Shadows can't exist without light. Light pushes back the darkness. So it almost seems there's a type of balancing effect in place to create this area. Link learns more about the location as he explores by reading inscriptions and communing with the spirits in the area. Upon entering the location proper, a fake wall states, Shadow Temple. Here lies Hyrule's history of blood and hatred. The Sheikah brought prisoners from Hyrule's many wars and those that opposed the royal family here to be questioned or much worse. There are torture devices and blood everywhere. It's considered taboo for the royal family to even speak the purpose or even the name of this location due to the horrendous acts that were carried out there in their name. The Shadow Temple is tucked away in the rear of the Kakariko graveyard, in a little alcove that overlooks the cemetery. The only way to reach the entrance is to play the Nocturne of Shadow, which is taught to Link by Sheik. It's an interesting thought to hide such an important location in such a conspicuous area. A slaughtering house inside of a graveyard? Maybe it's not such a bad hiding place at all. No one just casually goes snooping around a graveyard. While there are a few branching paths here and there, the overall design of the Shadow Temple is fairly linear. The overall motif, obviously, is shadows, darkness, and death. Many generic horror themes like blood, death traps, things such as that scatter the location. There are many things in this area that refer to the Shadow Temple being a House of the Dead, and I think this is kind of weird, seeing as the Sheikah used it as a place of interrogation and torture, right? Maybe the Shadow Temple was catacombs before the Sheikah repurposed it. My thoughts definitely lean toward the Shadow Temple being a catacombs previously. Just like our catacombs here in reality, there are skulls that line the walls, skull doors, piles of skulls. I honestly think the Sheikah repurposed it at some point in history. Just looking at the two, the Kakariko graveyard seems to be much newer. There's only a few graves in it, including the one for the royal family. They even have a grave digger, which isn't something I would expect to be lurking around something as important as a Shadow Temple. It even has a ferry to the underworld, which could be a burial rite the Sheikah used to give their dead. What's interesting, though, is that you have to use the Nocturne of Shadow to even enter the temple. This is more than likely a feature the Sheikah put in place to ensure that no one could get into their interrogation grounds. Fun fact, the Shadow Temple is the only temple in the game that requires a warping song to be able to get into it. Interesting, right? Floor masters, wall masters, redeads, Gibdos, Keys, Skulltulas, Redbubbles, and Stalfos. Those are just a few of the inhabitants of the Shadow Temple. That's not to mention the deadly traps such as the whirling scythes, blade traps, floor spikes, and guillotines. Presiding over all of this are the two main antagonists of the temple, Dead Hand and Bongo Bongo. The commonality here seem to be undead and creepy crawly style enemies that inhabit this location. At the lead of the chain of command is Bongo Bongo, and his right hand being Dead Hand. Bongo Bongo seems to be a massive beheaded spirit with severed hands. Dead Hand seems to be a massive lump of flesh with a huge gaping mouth and giant teeth. He He attempts to take a bite out of Link when he gets snared by one of the hands encircling the room. It's unknown whether those hands are attached to Dead Hand itself, or if they're kind of like a spider web encircling the room, ensuring that once prey is trapped, a signal is sent out that alerts Dead Hand. I like the theory that they're attached myself. One of my theories is that once Bongo Bongo escaped the bottom of the well and fled to the Shadow Temple, that's when all the craziness started happening. There's nothing in the game that alludes to this, it's just something that I happened to dream up a while back. In conclusion, I think that Bongo Bongo fleeing to the Shadow Temple is what caused the undead to animate. No doubt his powerful magic helped reanimate some of the spirits lurking in there. Not to mention, I'm sure there were already wandering spirits lurking around there anyway, considering the Sheikah used to torture and even kill people in that very temple. Perhaps one of those spirits were Bongo Bongo and Dead Hand themselves. Did Bongo Bongo originally originate inside the well? Or maybe he was originally from the Shadow Temple. Maybe he was split off back when the Shadow Temple was a catacombs. What are your theories and thoughts? I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.